Yeah.
What's going on, people? My name is Who is Alex Elliott and welcome back to the channel. Now, I've made some significant upgrades and updates to this studio. Some of them might be a little bit shocking for some of you who've known me for a while. But anyway, this video is the process of how all of that went. Okay, so the studio is an absolute tip right now because I am actually getting rid of this desk. And you're probably wondering why. It's actually a funny thing because I made a video and I was like, do you really need to spend a lot of money on the desk? Can you just get a cheaper one? And the reality is I probably had this for around about 4 months and I'm already getting rid of it. A few reasons. First thing being, that is an absolute nightmare. And as my speakers are playing, this desk is actually resonating and making my mid-range all funky. And then on top of that, there's just absolutely no cable management or way to hide the cables. I thought I could live with it. But whenever I'm sitting down right here and I look to the side, I saw all the cables underneath and I'm just at a point now where I'm like, it's actually doing my head in. It's also a little too wide. The aircon unit can't quite fit. So I'm actually going to downgrade and get something smaller. And I'm just going to go back to having like a rack mount unit here so that all of my hardware is just there and all of the cables are behind and you just won't see no cables because they're all going to be tucked behind in that corner. That's the game plan. Now, Mike Tyson once famously said, yeah, everyone's got a plan until you get punched in the face. And metaphorically, this process absolutely punched me in the face because I set out to just get one thing and the rabbit hole I end up going down, my goodness. Okay, bruv. Now, this is the danger with just doing studio Tetris because once I start, I just go crazy. So in this rear wall, yeah, I used to essentially have all my stacked 40 hertz tuned bass traps there, but I'm not gonna lie, I actually asked ChatGPT where would be the most effective place to place those, at the rear of the room or the front of the room, and it said if you could only place them in one position, place them at the front, which is common sense, right? The improvement is so sick, but now it's got me down the rabbit hole that I didn't want to go down, which is acoustic treatment. I went down this rabbit hole before, yeah, and I ended up spending so much money. I've treated my room like quite well, but I think what I want to do now is in this back corner, these GIK Acoustics like soffit mounts, I'm going to get 2 more so they go all the way up. I'm going to take these 2 and stick them underneath my desk. Just to like have something there, mainly to cover the wires, but also it does a little something. It takes off like, I get plus 3 dB in a null that's at like 250 hertz. Who knows why, but that's what's happening. But I think what I'm going to do, I'm nervous about it, but I think I'm actually going to turn this whole sidewall and this whole sidewall into absorption. And I think we're just going to build the frames onto the wall and do that. Now with the desk, I ended up getting this desk from IKEA because what I wanted, yeah, I didn't want to be too far into my room because obviously now I've lost around about 40 to 50 centimeters with that being there. IKEA desk, bruv. That's where I ended up going. I ended up getting rid of the desk before and thinking that the IKEA desk was going to be the one. I actually thought that. Anyway, the next part of this video is actually extremely helpful and valuable information. When I do bypass the sub, these don't sound anywhere near as good in the low end. They measure like much lower, but that's because the boost in the low end was actually coming from them being closer to the wall and obviously getting that SBIR. Speaker boundary interference, right? Now, even though they don't sound great when they're bypassed, oh my gosh, they sound so much better with the sub. Because before, my sub was plus 10 dB at 40 hertz, bruv. So basically, whenever like them tunes hit with a bass, the whole room was resonating. It was so crazy. Whereas now, it sounds great with the sub and not so great with the sub off. So I just keep the sub engaged and I've got these beautiful angry boxes, as you know, which are helping me with the mid-range. I still haven't got the rack for this yet because I don't know whether to get a 14U or a 16U. If I get a 16U, it's going to bring it up like just above here. And I worry how that will impact the reflections in this area. So I'm like, do I just get a 12U? But if I get a 14U, sorry, then I'm completely maxed out and I can't ever buy any more gear. And of course, should always make room to buy more gear because if we're being completely honest, 9U is being completely taken up by just monitoring, bruv. So there's actually only 4U of actual gear equipment that's being used in a mix. Okay, so just got an update. I did some frequency measurements, and the reflections coming off the desk are doing some quite intense comb filtering, essentially, which is essentially when your top end just sounds like quite metallic, like it's not a nice sound at all. And I was able to verify this because I took these pillows or cushions and I put one there and I put one there and measured again, and it solved the problem. Okay, what's going on, people? So I thought I'd give you another little update because I'm getting a different desk again. I've got the Zohr Maestro Solo 12 and that's coming tomorrow, and I've just spent the day just trying to rejig the room. But in the process of doing all of this, I also did something quite drastic. No more Amphions. I actually switched to the PMCs, and it's not because I hated the sound of the Amphions or anything like that. It's just because the PMCs are working much better in this room, and I had a massive issue at 40 Hertz. Nothing was solving it. So with this, I'm able to use the DSP to just do a narrow dip at that frequency, and it's helping me out. So this is my temporary setup because this is a mock-up of, I guess, where I'd be seated, and then the rack gear would be here, and then my screen would be there. So I just set it up like this in order to place my speakers. I've got all of this down here, but I'm looking forward to having that in the rack. I also got this IGS Volf stereo FET compressor coming soon, which is going to be great. Tomorrow, I also have some sound blocks coming, and these are like stackable. These ones here are the wall mount ones. So they don't have the feet and they don't have the system to stack. But tomorrow you'll see that there's going to be a stack here, and it'll be up to about this high. But then I'm going to get another stack when I could afford to. It's so expensive, I had to do it bit by bit. And then that'll take it up to about this high. So the idea is that side of the wall's covered, that side of the wall's covered. And then as I get paid a bit more money, then I'll get another middle stack custom size. And I'll get that so that that goes floor to ceiling and floor to ceiling as well. And then I think I'll probably finally done. Although Alan keeps telling me I need to check out the Mammoth by Zombie, but bruv, this, I need to stop. Do you know what I mean? At some point you just gotta say, I've got enough. Now, after all this time, I really should have known better. I don't know why I had so much faith in DPD as a delivery company. I'm in this video saying, these deliveries are gonna arrive the next day. They absolutely did not arrive the next day. I was meant to get the gig stuff, and I was also meant to get the desk on the Friday. I booked the whole Friday off to set up this desk because I need to set it up on the weekend as well. I need to move the speakers. I need to do measurement, all of this kind of stuff. So I literally am waiting all Friday to get this desk. Bearing in mind, I have to have the door open and I can't play music loud. And when the door's open, the acoustics of the room are completely off. So I'm even working in a compromised situation waiting for this desk. Did this desk turn up? Absolutely not. Did the gig stuff turn up? No. Why? Because the delivery of the boxes that needed to go to gig in order for gig to box it up and send it to me, didn't even get delivered to them. So all over the gaff, bruv, deliveries had just been a mess. And I said DPD, it could be a bit of UPS, a bit of DHL, whatever it is. Delivery man absolutely did not do their fundamental job. And I spent the whole weekend just annoyed, man. I'm not gonna lie, I was so annoyed. However, come Tuesday, there was a little bit of good news. Okay, so look what's arrived. It's my Zohr Maestro Solo 12. So I could stop living like a little povel, bro. Look at my desk setup, bro. Being held up by the Bible. But you can get a proper desk in, which means I'll be able to start to do some measurements and, you know, make sure the speaker's in the right position and whatnot. But yeah, man, it finally came. It's been stressful, man. Okay, so the studio is more or less done, and it's crazy just even watching back and seeing all of the ideas I had and the ones that came to fruition and the ones that just got completely scrapped. This is how we're looking right now. And honestly, I'm so happy with it. The main things that are different is initially I had those 6 traps at the rear wall, right? Well, that wasn't going to work because these being midfield, they needed to be pushed back to the wall much more. So I ended up putting 4 of them at the back and then 2 of them at the bottom. And then these are like broadband absorption just in the middle there. But also, instead of building out the entire sidewalls, because I've already spent so much money on GIK stuff, I just got a stack here. And I need to buy this one and this one. Honestly, budget ran out, bruv. We got to work and get some more money in. But I'll get that and I'll get that. And I think I will be tempted to go straight up to the ceiling, because essentially it will be the equivalent of having like a soffit mounted trap in the top corners as well, just in this mixed position. But it's sounding so tight in here, man, when I put these in. Like the decay time and the RT60 and the waterfall on GIK is just like, sorry, on RuiQ is just fantastic. And this genuinely, I can honestly say this is the best sounding studio I've ever had. And having the PMCs has been really helpful, mainly because I've also been able to sort out that 40 hertz massive boost by just EQing it down a little bit, minus 5 dB. And that's just brought my whole low end much more in line and much tighter, which was the main reason I went for these speakers in the first place. But honestly, once I set them up, they're super fun, man. They're loud, they've got energy, they're exciting. I never deliver harsh mixes on them, because they will let you know this is harsh, like this is too bright. They're really, really good for that. But it's feeling good, man. It's feeling ergonomic, and the flow of it is feeling really nice. But I'm going to work on it for a few hours and then I'll do another video.